We have heard much in the news recently about the cheating scandal in the Atlanta Public Schools. We have retested students. The results were different from when the test was first administered a year ago. And for the four of you all who work more closely with the Atlanta Public Schools, one being a former superintendent who understand how to read test scores and what it means, the CRCT, do you believe that Atlanta, in fact, has a cheating problem? And if so, what do you base that evidence on? And if not, why don't you think that is a cheating problem given the evidence that's coming forward? We'll start with Senator Ford, Dr. Harris, Sister Taveres, and if you can try to keep your comments in a minute, we're going to get to questions from the audience as well. Senator Ford.
One, unfortunately, we don't know the whole story. And unfortunately, 7 months after this thing came out, we still don't know. A group of Atlanta legislators in February, when this came out, wrote a letter to the superintendent, wrote a letter to the Atlanta Public School System, and said, we need a transparent and open investigation of what actually happened. What we got a few weeks ago was not that. What we found out was that the investigation was controlled by the Chamber of Commerce and the superintendent. When we said to the school board, we don't elect the superintendent, we don't elect the Chamber of Commerce, you have the responsibility of finding out what the truth, so that parents and children and the community at large can know what actually happened. Unfortunately, at this very hour, we don't know what happened. And that's why at this juncture, it's in the hands of Son of Purdue and people at the state. Let me tell you something, APS should have done their business when they had the opportunity. Because when you turn it over to Son of Purdue and his folk, no telling what might happen. And so that's why, I'll be honest with you, as I sit here talking to you after asking APS to do the right thing, to do the investigation the right way, I feel what? Betrayed. And you all ought to as well, because that investigation should have gotten to the truth. It did not. You had APS personnel sitting in the room when people were being asked questions. That would what? Probably prevent people from being totally open. The investigation was wrong, was done incorrectly. The Chamber of Commerce controlled it because they want what? They want a good image.
That's your minute. Thank you.
They want a good image and they want to protect their contract.
In order to deal with the situation that we are currently involved in, you got to understand something of the history of how they got there. 1972, back when the first Bush came in, no child left behind, we introduced what we call high-stakes tests. High-stakes test means this, that if the child in the 3rd grade doesn't pass that test, he's no longer social promoted, he stays in the 3rd grade until he passes that test. So the high-stakes test was designed to put stress on children to do better. But as it puts stress on children to do better, it also has some other parts to it. It puts stress on the teacher to have the children do better. It puts stress on the principal to have the school do better. In fact, if the school did worse 3 years straight, guess what happened to the principal? He was to be moved and replaced. That's high stakes. And so if the principal's going to be removed, guess what he's going to do with the teachers if they don't do what they're supposed to do? They're going to go and go back down to the teacher. So therefore, it introduced what we call a normal phenomenon of basically in America, people cheat. Now, if you don't think they cheat, I'm checking the research out. In 1986, when we looked at the tax forms, there were adults and children. There were children on the tax forms. One year later, in 1987, there were 2 million less children on your tax income form than there were in 86. In 1 year, we had missing children, 2 million across the states. 2 million missing. They were no longer there. Why? Because in 1987, the government passed a rule that says you no longer can put your names down, you got to put the social security number down. You got to put the social security. So 2 million kids, now that's basically at least 1 out of every 10 was gone. Somebody was cheating. 1 out of every 10 was gone. So the incentive is there, generally, whether we like it or not. But we have to set up a situation where the cheating is not pervasive. And basically, we can do a better job at doing that.
All right, Dr. Harris, let me try that one more time. Do you believe, based on what you've seen and heard, that cheating occurred? Maybe you answer that.
Yeah, I said cheating.
You think that we do have a cheating problem?
Cheating occurred. I don't think it was wholesale, but that was cheating.
All right. Sister Taveres, real quick.
You know, for me, Brother Derrick, it's so much deeper than it's cheating, you know, because we know cheating happens. It happens everywhere. Anytime anybody's under any pressure, they're going to cheat. They're going to try to get away with something. I mean, that's unfortunately a natural thing for people. But what my concern is not 100% whether the teachers did cheat, but why the teachers felt the need to cheat. And, or the principal, or the SRT, or Dr. Hall, whomever we may feel that it will trickle down. And I too have been following this from the very beginning. I'm a parent in Atlanta Public Schools, so of course I follow it. And really, I've been calling for this for a long time, and it's concerning to me that a lot of the community still don't really understand what's going on and their responsibility. What I tell people all the time is that I don't mind if my children take the CRCT, the GGT, the ECOT, the ITBS, and the NAEP, every single test that's out there. Because guess what? I'm a parent who's involved. I'm a parent who's actively making sure that my children can handle a test that's a basic skills test. It's a basic skills test. And so we need to ask ourselves, are our parents and our community failing our schools? That to me is a bigger question, because it's no doubt that the teachers, since desegregation, and I just want to do a real quick history, our schools have changed. People don't live in the communities. You talk about it a lot, Derrick. You know, parents in the community and grandma used to see the teachers and the principals in the grocery store in the neighborhoods. We don't have that as much when a teacher has to drive out to Henry County or Fayette County when they teach in Atlanta Public Schools. So do we expect that teacher to be more invested in our children than we are in our children? We expect that teacher to be more invested in 30 children or 150 children, depending on how many children they teach per day, than one parent and one community to be invested in that child. I say to you, it's up to us to be invested. We control the school system. The organizational chart, if you go on the Atlanta Public Schools website, says Public Board of Education, Superintendent, and then everybody underneath that. But the key word to that, Derrick, is public. And we have to make sure that we're doing our part to hold our teachers, our parents, our superintendent, and our elected officials, i.e. our board members, accountable for what's going on in the community and what's going on with our children.
All right, let's try one more time. Does Atlanta Public School have a cheating problem? Yes or no?
Yes.